Good morning, Facebook yogis, and welcome to day 3 of Facebook yoga. Today, I want to demystify downward facing dog, which, as you can see by my body shape, is effectively an arm balance, a stretch for the back of your legs, the hamstrings, and it's also an inversion because your head is at the other end of your body. Now, the biggest problem with downward facing dog that I see a lot of people, even experienced yogis, have is wrist pain. And the reason for this is, first of all, the placement of the hands, which is incorrect, but secondly also the placement of the weight. So I understand wrist pain really well because I fell through a window as a child and I had 4 reconstructions on my wrist where I cut a lot of tendons and ligaments off. And I've also broken the little finger on my right hand, and just last year I broke the 4th metatarsal on my left hand. And obviously for downward facing dog, hands are very important, but I was able, through breaking my finger, to continue my practice all the time with no lack of movement in my finger, because I know where to place my hands. And the secret is in the elbows. So when you go into downward facing dog, obviously you want to have your hands more or less in line with your shoulders, a little bit wider than your chest. And what you want to make sure then is that you rotate your elbows to the outside, so you feel as though you're drawing your elbows in and you're screwing your hands into the floor. And then the big secret is not to fall into the base of your hands, but to lift away and to press firstly into the thumb and forefinger to keep the inward rotation going, and then to make sure that the other fingers are stacked up and spread out so that the middle fingers are parallel to the edges of the mat. So there's none of those seal hands or anything like this. So think of pushing up and pressing out. And then when you go into your downward facing dog, placing the hands, rotating the elbows forward, roll your shoulder blades back, draw your belly in, so you're lifting up with your core muscles, and then you want to switch on your triceps. So downward facing dog, certainly for me, to avoid wrist pain, is all about using the triceps. And then as you go up into the pose, not only triceps, but also these muscles here, so the obliques and teres major. So going up into downward facing dog out of all fours, tucking your toes, sit back towards your heels and gently lift your knees so you feel as though you can leap forward. Then you gently start stacking your hips to the sky and bring your ears between your arms. Now you can press the mat away, broaden your chest, lift your lower ribs, so tuck the ribs under and find a long spine. Now you can gently release first one heel and then the other, and if you are tight in the hamstrings, it really doesn't matter. You can stay here until you've got the upper body strength and mobility to then slowly start working with reaching the heels down. But if your down dog has bent legs, it doesn't matter. It's more important that your down dog has straight, locked up elbows, shoulders and wrists. And the other thing I often see yogis do is that they overextend. So if you're very flexible, if you stretch too far down, you're actually creating quite a lot of pressure on the rotator cuffs. And of course, this is not a healthy thing to do. So I just noticed that my phone has shifted a bit and that you may not have seen the placement of the hands. So I'll do that again for you. Placing the hands down, 4 middle fingers are parallel to the edges of the mat. Elbows rotate forward, thumb and forefinger is down. Toes are tucked. Lift your knees and gently then begin to hinge back. Triceps switch on. Teres major switches on. Obliques are working. Latissimus dorsi is working. Ears between the arms. Tailbone to the sky. Heels to the mat. And then you can really start elongating your spine by drawing forward, making sure that you don't lean over. I often see this kind of thing happening as well in downward dog. You want a flat spine, you want straight shoulders, you want ears between arms, you want heels down. And if that means the knees are bent, doesn't matter. More importantly, you have a very, very flat belly. And that helps you not only to build upper body strength, but it helps you to avoid the inevitable wrist pain that comes from downward facing dog. And it can be really quite challenging to your practice if you constantly have pain in the wrists. So think about pressing thumb and forefinger down, pulling away rather than falling down into the floor, straightening and inward rotating the elbows. This can be a challenge as well if you're quite tight in the forearms. Eventually the openness comes, and once that happens, you'll be able to float into downward facing dog and really enjoy all the benefits this amazing pose has for your upper body, for the bottom part of your body. The hamstrings, the Achilles tendons get stretched, but also because it's an inversion, you get the benefit of the way in which the heart beats and all the other stuff. That's amazing. So downward facing dog, I always say, is like an instant facelift, lots of glow. Give it a try, and as I said, remember to draw the elbows in. Everything is pulling into a strong, tight, muscular little packet of your amazing body. Wishing you a great rest of your day, and namaste.